Thank you guys for watching the replay. It is Precious S. Carter, and if you want to know more about me, follow me on social media. All of it is at Precious S. Carter. But if you are not currently following me, go ahead and hit the follow button and go ahead and share this if you don't mind. That would be awesome. I think this is going to be really helpful to your friends, to those who you love. So I was thinking yesterday as I got back, hi, Rochelle. Hi, everybody. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Mama. How are you? I've been praying for Brandon, and I will continue to pray for him. We got all of our friends praying. We're just believing for a full recovery. So I was thinking yesterday just about some of the people that I have encountered and some of the times in my life that I have looked at what other people have and looked at what other people are doing. And I started to compare myself, and I started to feel like I was kind of behind the eight ball, or I was missing out on something. I mean, especially for me, like growing up in the situation that I grew up in, without parents, without a mother, without a father, with dealing with all types of rejection, resentment, abuse. Hi, Santa Maria. It was just easy for me to always want to compare like what was going on to my life, what I didn't have, what I had to experience, what I didn't get to experience, to other people who seem to have more going for them than me. And that was just like a horrible feeling, to always be comparing myself, to always feel less than. And so the older I got, obviously, the more I started to study the Word of God, to study what it is that He has promised for each of us, and to study like exactly what He did when He created us. And one of my favorite verses, I'm not going to quote it, I'm just going to break it down, but it just says that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. We're a marvelous work of the hand of God. And I want to take a moment to talk about that. When we don't take the time to fully grasp the fact that we are actually fearfully and wonderfully made, it's easy for us to become distracted, and it's easy for us to start looking at our own journey and comparing it to other people's journey. And the problem with comparison is it really comes to attack your mind, right? Like, it's actually a direct assault on everything that you're designed to be. It is a direct assault on your self-esteem. I think it was Iyanla Vanzant who said comparison is an act of violence against the self. And what she meant by that is when you are comparing yourself to other people, other places, other situations, that means that you're not able to find any joy or any peace within yourself, and you're actually not even able to focus on your life mission. When comparison starts to attack your self-esteem, it also starts to attack your relationships, right? Because that's what I mean whenever you hear me say the enemy has you coming and going, right? Because when you start to compare, not only are you going to you're going to make a judgment on yourself, or you're going to make a judgment on somebody else. And so when you're making a judgment on somebody else, that means that you're letting pride well up in yourself, as well as when you're making a judgment about yourself. You're also going to start to have some jealousy, some competition, some negativity, and you're not going to be able to have relationships that are actually positive relationships, because it's hard to be integral in a relationship. It's hard to actually love someone genuinely if you're comparing yourself to them. And so it's really like an act of violence in terms of your own self-esteem, in terms of how you esteem others, in terms of how you develop and build relationships and maintain relationships. And it also is going to attack your integrity. A lot of times when people compare themselves to other people, or compare their situations to other people's situations, they end up having that kind of like hateful disposition. They do a lot of sneak dissing. They do a lot of gossiping. They do a lot of like underhanded or side comments that are like, I'm complimenting you. Like, you're pretty for a light-skinned girl. You're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. I'm glad you got that job. Good job. Good thing you knew somebody to give it to you, sort of thing. Instead of actually being able to really support and appreciate somebody for who they are and the accomplishments that they made, you're too busy trying to figure out why you're not there. So it really is going to lead to jealousy and competition, and you're not going to be able to have good relationships because you are always going to be inwardly focused on how you think you should do better, how you think you should deserve better. And it's actually that focus that you're focusing inward in comparison. You're actually looking outward at something other than what it is that you are actually assigned to be working on. So when you think about it in terms of we were created, we are a body. For those of us who are believers, we are to function as a body, the body of Christ. And so if you think about it, if I'm an ear and my function is to hear, would it make sense for me to compare myself to the eye, whose function it is to see? Would it make sense for me to compare the components of myself to the components of my eye? Would it make sense for me to compare the journey that my ear takes and how it takes in information and how it processes information to the journey of my eye and what it does to go through its journey, how it processes information? And if you think about it, even if you take it a step further, what if you are an eye? But what if you are the rod of the eye versus the iris of the eye? Would it make sense for you to be jealous that you don't see color or you don't have the ability to fine tune the things that you see? No, because what you have to understand is who you are is a person that was specifically made creatively, meticulously. When you think about the word fearfully, it means that you were made with respect. You were made with honor. You were made in order to cause astonishment. You were made to be held in awe. You are made to inspire reverence, and you are made with godly fear. And to be wonderfully made is to be distinct, to be separated, to be distinguished, to be wonderful, to be set apart, and to be marvelous. And so when you start to think about the fact that you were fearfully and wonderfully made, you, me, we were both fearfully and wonderfully made for a specific purpose. And what the enemy tries to do is to derail you from your destiny, right? And one of the ways that he does that is to get you to focus on the assignment of someone else or get you to focus on what you don't have. And then you start to go after things or you start to compare yourself to other people, which actually have nothing to do with the reason that you were created. It has nothing to do with the journey that you were actually meant to be on. And so it just derails you. It causes separation in relationships. It causes separation it causes you to have a lower value or lower opinion of yourself. And it causes you to miss the mark on the things that it is that you are supposed to accomplish. It causes other people that you are assigned to miss the mark on what it is they're supposed to learn from you because you can't give it. You can't pour out what you don't have, and you don't have what it is that you need because you're focused on someone else's journey. And so I just wanted to give you some quick tips on how to break free from the cycle of comparison. And I know it's easy to do for women because we live in this society that has really done a good job at separating us from each other, from our original intention. It has focused very much on our physical appearance. It has told us that we're too loud, that we're too quiet. It has told us that we need more or we have too much. It has done everything that it can. This society has done everything that it can to make us feel not secure in who we are. And so I just think that it's time that we get back to that. So number one, you need to rest in the fact that you were indeed fearfully and wonderfully made, and you are indeed the marvelous work of the hand of God. And when you begin to actually focus on that, it's going to help you to understand or remember what it is that you were created for. You will go back to think about those dreams that you had when you were a child, and you will start to understand that those desires that you actually have were placed by God, and it's because he gave you those dreams for you to start to pursue him. And the word says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then these things will be added unto you. So instead of focusing outward, you will begin to focus inward and upward, and that's going to help you get on the right path. Number two is you need to start to practice gratitude. And what I mean by that is each one of us has so much to be thankful for. I don't care if this is a time in your life that is not good. I mean, 2020, it didn't start out to be the greatest year for anyone, but I'm sure as you look over life, I don't care if you're laying in a hospital bed right now. I don't care if you just lost someone. I don't care if you were divorced this year. You still have some things to be thankful for. Whether it is just all you can think of right now is that you're thankful that you woke up this morning, then thank God for that. And as you begin to truly practice gratitude and practice thankfulness, then you will begin to truly more bubbles out of you, right? Because as you begin to thank God, as you begin to enter his gates with thanksgiving and then his courts with praise, you will start to remember everything that you have to be thankful for. And gratitude, thankfulness, love, peace, and joy, those are all things that are going to multiply that same feeling within yourself. Another thing you do is focus on your strengths. And what I mean by that is focus on the things that you are actually good at. Hi, Amy. Thank you for joining. Focus on the things that you're actually good at, the things that you enjoy doing, and focus on them and cultivate them. So when you're thinking about what it is that you are good at, like I have always for my entire life been one that's super good at giving unsolicited advice. I'm really wise. I'm always one that people come to regarding relationships. I'm one that people comes to for ideas. I'm one that people comes to for wisdom all the time. And so once I started to actually hone in on my gifts, hone in on my strengths, God was able to even cultivate them more. And now I use them to make a living. Now I use them, like now there's no doubt you can give me a problem and I trust God to give me a solution almost immediately because I have cultivated that gift. So that's something that you need to do. Number one, start to really practice gratitude and rest in the fact that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And then start to focus in on your own strengths and gifts and to cultivate them. And that way you're not focusing inward as in pride, but you're focusing inward as in how can I become better so that I can serve you better, right? Number three, and number four, this is something that I think is very important to do, is to start to celebrate others. Like people who know me know, like the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to celebrate you. The one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you. The one thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to lift you up. And because I actually have that, mindset, like I'm really happy to see people happy. I'm really happy to see people prosperous. I'm really happy to help people get there. It helps me to have good relationships with people. It helps me to be a person with integrity. People know that they can respect me and they know that they can trust my opinion because I genuinely want the best for you. And it just helps me all around in life. And I don't have time to focus on, my thing is teach me how to do what you did, so that I can get there too. Not you don't deserve it because I haven't gotten there. And it's a really big thing. Like having good relationships is a big part of how you can actually get to your journey. Because again, we are a body. My eye and my ear, they coordinate to function. They coordinate to keep me balanced. They coordinate to make sure that I don't bump into things. If by chance my eye is feeling weak, my hearing is sharpened, so therefore I can be a little bit more careful when I know when my sight is dim, my hearing is going to be sharpened. So just in case I need to cross that street, but something's in my blind spot, I'm going to hear the wheels turning. I'm going to hear the horn blowing a little bit more sharply. So it's important to have good relationships. It's important for the eyes and the ears to have good relationships so that they can balance one another out. So again, we have to start thinking of ourselves as a body, and we have to understand that each part of the body has a different function. And for the body to function correctly, then they need to have a good relationship. They need to work in sync. So for example, your heart and your lungs are different parts of your body. If your heart is weak, that means that your lungs is going to have to work harder to compensate for that. So you as a heart or you as a lungs, you don't want to put that extra pressure on the other body part because you are busy trying to be a liver or you're busy trying to be a stomach when you're not equipped to be that. You're not equipped to push bile out of the body. You're not equipped to push urine out of the body. You're not equipped to filter the blood. you are equipped to pump the blood, and you are equipped to help the body respirate, right? So it's just important that we just begin to really stop that act of violence against ourselves and comparing ourselves to one another, okay? And then, finally, just really learn your triggers. Learn where this came from. Because most of the time, if we think back on why we compare ourselves, it probably was a traumatic event in our life. Whether we were told that we weren't good enough, thank you, Nevada, whether we were told we weren't good enough, whether we were constantly compared to our siblings, whether we were, always felt like we didn't have because people talked about us and nobody really taught us how to love ourselves. Nobody really nurtured us properly. It's time as adult women that we stop playing the blame game and that we start to take some accountability for ourselves so we can actually be impactful and help this next generation. Okay? That's really all I have. I don't see any questions. I didn't start off by saying if you have any questions, go ahead and put them, because I'm not going to wait around for a bunch. So I'll give it like 1 minute. If you have any questions, I'll answer it. If not, share this because I think it's really powerful. If you're not already following me, go ahead and do so. And then I will see you guys on Wednesday. Alrighty. Nothing. Bye. Share this. Have a good night.